From the one spirit that pervades all of mankind, the spirit of love, this is the Native American Flute Music Podcast. Hello to you whom I know in my heart, for my heart is love, and I know yours is love as well. Thank you for joining me on this first podcast of Native American flute music. Today, you will hear selections of the music I've composed and recorded since 2003, when I received, as a gift, my very first Native American flute. I'd like to tell you exactly how that came about, and how I came to record my first native flute album. One day there was an odd sound coming down the hallway toward my recording studio. It was a cacophony of squeaking and chirping, sounds I didn't even recognize. In walked a lovely angel who calls herself Elizabeth. She was blowing on a 6-hole wooden hand-carved flute. Not knowing how to blow, it sounded not so good. But to me, it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. She reached out her arms to me, flute in hand. We embraced. I gently took the flute into my own hands, placed my fingers over the 6 holes, and shared my first breath with the sacred wood. It was like magic from the first note, a magic that would change my entire life. I had a high fever and was dizzy and weak on that day, yet I played that flute. I played it for 20 minutes. At the end of that time, the fever was gone, I felt clear and light, and I was well. This was something my mind didn't expect at all, but it began a journey I walk today, of wholeness, health, and healing, not only for myself, but for all the lives this music touches. Shortly after, I found myself sitting on a mountainside in Colorado. I saw the woodpecker at the bottom of a tree pecking away. He worked his way up the tree. Finding nothing, he went to the next tree and started at the bottom, searching, pecking, all the way up. Finding nothing, he went to the 3rd tree and the 4th. Undaunted, he continued trying trees until he hit the jackpot and he found his breakfast. I was inspired by the woodpecker for his perseverance without any doubt in his mind that he would be provided for. And so, I picked up the new flute and I played the melody you heard at the beginning of this podcast. High on the mountain. High on the mountain, low in the tree, I am still serenity. I would like to play for you High on the Mountain from the album Native American Flute, released 2003, my first Native American Flute album. It still brings me serenity. I couldn't help but sing the words along there a moment ago. Since that time, I've increased the amount of flutes I have by, I don't even know. I have over 60 instruments now that I didn't have back then. And of course, we've improved our equipment, recording techniques, microphones. Everything is far better than it was back then. But rather than to take you to one of those new studio recordings, I want to take you to a very special project I did 2 years ago. August and September of 2016, I took 2 microphones and a lot of flutes, harps, hand drums, guitars out into the forests and woods of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan. I went to the many waterfalls I could find, along streams. I recorded videos and audio that I improvised on the spot. Some of those I was able to put into an album I called Medicine, for I found the whole trip so healing for me, and I want to share that healing with you. One particular place, called Bond Falls in Upper Michigan, was a large waterfall, very loud, rushing waters, a lot of white foam, big rocks the waters were flowing over. But I walked upstream from the falls, into the woods where it came from. There, the stream broke into dozens of little streams between the trees, trickling over the rocks. I set up my equipment on one rock, microphone stand on another rock, microphone stand on another rock. I pulled out my flute, and I felt this loneness, but not aloneness. I felt like I was there with my one lone flute, and yet I was not alone at all, but as one with everyone, with the whole world. I played the flute, and this is the melody that came out. And I sang these words, "The flute is never alone." It's from the album Medicine from 2016. Please enjoy. The flute is never alone, though it makes a sound that is one. The flute is never alone. When you play it, the song goes on. Life seems floating when the flute is playing along. The flute is never alone, though it makes a sound that is one. The sound it makes is always one, but it is never, never alone. A flute is never alone. When you play it, the song goes on. Life seems floating when the flute is playing along. The entire album of harps, hand drums, flutes, and the sounds of nature are an extremely healing experience. There's also a series of videos I've posted, videos of me performing this music, some for the very first time, entire songs that just came forth with no effort, it seemed, on my part. Well, after that, I want to take you to a rhythmical piece that I did, about 10 years ago, I guess, in an album I call Drums of Yoga. It had quite a lot of different rhythms in it, a lot of hand drums. I'd like to play one track from there. I call it Africa's Beauty. In it, I'm playing, among other hand drums, an African drum. Hand-carved figures in wood around the drum. It's cylindrical. I set it on the ground, and it has a skin on both sides. And I play that with both hands, left and right. And some other drums as well, and flutes. You'll hear some sounds that almost sound like they might be synthesized, but they're a series of flutes put together. The entire piece was done with native instruments from around the world. Enjoy now Africa's Beauty from the album Drums of Yoga. Africa's beauty was definitely an otherworldly inspiration, as I've never been to Africa, but I have been exposed to a lot of African music and a few African drummers from time to time, from South Africa and Zimbabwe. This has all helped to just enrich my musical experience. It's been great for me. But the greatest thing so far has been when I get to share it. And I don't know who hears this, but I do know that anything shared with love never goes wasted. And it always comes back to you. But most importantly, where it goes, you may not know, but you can be assured it goes somewhere to help someone, somewhere in this world. When we express love, we help one another. I could tell you many stories, and I will in future podcasts. But right now, I would like to take you on a journey in your story at this moment. Your story and my story. All of the stories of all the people in this moment. In this moment, the story is love, peace, and harmony. In this moment, that's everything that there is. In this moment, many believe otherwise, and so we see what we call disasters and tortures of this world. But in this moment, you and I can now realize love, peace, and harmony are the reality of existence. I express this in the music because I don't know really any other way. I don't do it so well in words. I do it in meditation, quietly, without words. And I try to share what I can. Mostly it's just a thing of showing up now, in this moment. Showing up, being here, now. The future and the past are now as well. Leaving behind beliefs in regrets or beliefs in fears of the future, fears of our health, fears of our provision, leaving them all behind. You can do that, but only in the present moment. In the present moment, you can feel peace, harmony, and feel like all is well and all is provided for in your life. And so this takes me to a song called Simple Spirit. I wrote and performed it several years ago on the album Cosmic Healing. Yes, love is a simple thing, but too often we miss it. We miss receiving it, we miss expressing it. Only because of one simple thing, our mind. Our mind gets busy, thinking. Oh boy, if your mind is even 1/100th the way mine is, it can go in 1,000 directions at once. Worrying about this, trying to devise that, scheming the other thing, mostly all with good intention. Yes, I want things to be great. For you, for me, for my loved ones, of course I do. But my mind, it goes crazy. So I'm going to end this podcast with a song I did on a rock album. Yes, my first and only rock album a couple of years ago. I called it Bill Webb Rocks. It's all original music, done in the spirit of the rock I was weaned on. Yes, before jazz, there was rock in my life. And before that, there was nothingness. Oh, no, there was me learning the piano at age 7. And then, of course, my classical training, shows, Broadway, whatnot, this and that, everything and the other, until I was led to Native American flute and all the beauty of the wood flute and the many world instruments I play. So, now, hold on to your cats, hitties, and get ready to rock and roll through my mind. To the Sea from Bill Webb Rocks. A trip through my mind is a very scary time. I never know for sure what I'm gonna find. A trip through my mind is a reason to decline to a trip to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. A trip to the bottom of the sea. Will I find peace of mind down at the bottom of the sea? It's very clear to see I'm confused about me. Mind's manipulations don't set me free. I've overanalyzed it 27 times 3. Now I'm sinking to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. I'm sinking to the bottom of the sea. Will I find peace of mind down at the bottom of the sea? Wait, I think I got it, my gut said to me. A voice I never listened to previously. Stop analyzing, let it be, let it fall to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. Let it fall to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. Down to the bottom of the sea. Wait, I think I got it, my gut said to me. A voice I never listened to previously. Stop analyzing, let it be, let it fall to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. Let it fall to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, to the sea. Down to the bottom of the sea. To the sea, let it fall to the bottom of the sea. Let it rest, let it be. Down at the bottom of the sea. Down at the bottom of the sea. Let it be at the bottom of the sea. Let it be, let it be, let it be. You are free, you are free, you are free. Let it be. Thank you so much for joining me in my first podcast of Native American flute music. with the exception of the last tune, but we had to have that one for fun. I hope you'll join me every week. Sign up and you'll get the notice that there's a new podcast. Once a week, there will be one 30-minute music podcast. I'll be telling a few stories, playing a few songs from all of the Native American flute music I've performed and composed since 2003. And in the future, we'll have guests and guest music as well from other Native American flute players. In the meantime, remember, we're all made of love. Be conscious of this in the moment and be amazed at how your life and the lives of those around you transform